Hey, what's up? How y'all doing? Okay, before we actually get into the video, I feel like I need to kind of address my channel because I think it's weird to just start uploading again after like a year and a half with a different type of content. Prior to this video, I was strictly a beauty channel, and to be honest, I'm not really into beauty and makeup all that much anymore. I still like it, and I'm sure there will be beauty videos here and there when I feel like doing them, but for the most part, it's not like my main thing anymore, and I have other interests, believe it or not. And so this channel is going to kind of transition. We're going to do some other type of videos. Cool. Number two, what was the second thing? Oh, the name of my channel. So, prior, I used to go by Kat, and now I'm going by Mckayla. Mckayla's my birth name. Kat is short for Katharine, which was my middle name, is my middle name, not was, is my middle name. And I went by that because when I first signed up for YouTube, like to actually like post videos of myself, part of the bargaining chip with my mom was like, oh, I won't go by my first name, make it more safe, and she eventually like said yes, so that was like part of the deal initially. And that's just like always how it's been. And at one point I wanted to change my name, but that's way too much work. So changed it to Mckayla Katharine. On here it's Mckayla Katharine everywhere, except I think Twitter is Mckayla Kat because Katharine's too long. Yeah. That's it. This wrap up is from a few months ago, so enjoy. Hey guys, today I am filming a wrap up for the beginning of the year, January, February, March, and April. Generally, I don't read enough books in a month to do a wrap up, but in May I'm doing a book competition, so I'm gonna read enough books, so we'll do one at the end of May, or June maybe we'll add in, I don't know. Either way, I have 10 books to share with you that I read. I have my iPad set up right here with all my official reviews. I post them all on my Twitter. I also post them on my Goodreads. I'll link both down below in case you are interested. The very first book I read was Lying in Wait by Liz Nugent. This book's about a family. The parents may or may not be involved in a murder. Well, they are. They're involved in a murder. And the son kind of finds out and then gets involved with the murdered girl's family. So it's kind of a mess. It's very interesting. I thought it was a really good book. I rated it 4 stars. It was a little boring and slow. That was necessary though to like really bring the characters and setting to life. All the characters were easy to connect to, which I really liked, and every chapter was from a different character's perspective, and it says whose character it is. So like right here it says Lydia, that's the mom, so it's from that chapter's from her perspective, so I liked that. This story is so weird and it took many turns that I wasn't expecting. I said in my review it's truly sick. So there was a twist at the end of this book. It was a weird twist because you kind of knew the outcome of the twist, but you didn't know how it was going to go down. So I really like that because I didn't just guess it. I also am not like a big fan of like guessing endings in books. I just kind of read and like go with it. Second book I read was a 1-star book, and a lot of people are gonna be mad at me, but it is Animal Farm by George Orwell. Snoozeville, guys. I thought this book was so boring. It's not worth reading. It's not good. It put me to sleep literally 4 times, and I just couldn't. It was bad. I hate this book. It's a waste of my time. No. 1 star, trash. Next book was a 5-star book, and it is Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. I love Lisa Jewell. I love her writing. It's like smooth, buttery writing. She is a great author. And this book was really, really nice. It was told from 2 different people's perspectives. One was the mother and the other was the daughter. So basically what happens is in this book is that the daughter goes missing, and essentially the mother's trying to figure out what happened like years later. So each chapter it changes perspective. The daughter's perspective is told from when she was taken, so like back in time, and the mother is like current day life. I thought this book was interesting. You're kind of told what, like, who commits the crime, I guess, early on, but throughout the book you're trying to unravel how exactly it happened, which I think is the intention for this book. I've heard people critique the book because you figure out what happens early on, but I feel like you're supposed to kind of figure out who does it early on. It's just you're seeing how it unravels and what happens during the book, and I think that's the point of it. I cried like a baby at the end of this book. The characters are very easy to connect to. They are so well described. They are fantastic. I really like this book. It's definitely one of my favorites and I would recommend it. Next book we have was another 1 star. This is TED Talks, the official TED Guide to Public Speaking by Chris Anderson, who is the head of TED. I had to read this book for my public speaking course and I never ended up reading it, so I read it now because I bought it, so I was gonna read it. And this book, honestly, it's really not worth reading unless you are giving a TED Talk. If you're giving a TED Talk, read this because he will like you if you follow everything he says. But if you're not giving a TED Talk, don't read it because most of the information is common knowledge and the author is very narcissistic and takes on the attitude of my way or the highway, and if you don't listen to me, you will fail type of attitude. He seems like an asshole, to be honest. I wouldn't recommend the book. It was annoying to read and I skipped through a lot of it, to be honest. It was like beating a dead horse. Like, it just kept going on and on and on, and it was about the same shit and a lot of common sense stuff. So, and a lot of it's very, very specific to TED Talks. So if you're giving a TED Talk, this book is probably beneficial, but if you're not, skip it. Next book that I read is a self-help book. It is the Life-Changing Magic of Not Giving a Fuck by Sarah Knight. This book I gave 2 stars. I don't really love this book at all. It has some useful information and techniques, but it focuses a lot on them. So she'll give you like one little piece of information and then she'll focus like a whole quarter of the book on it. And that's just annoying, especially if you already do the techniques or if it doesn't really apply to you or if you don't really care. I just wish it taught you more techniques and lessons rather than just focusing on a few and like really beating them into you. And she wants you to do like exercises in this book. At one point she's like talking about like, go sit on your floor in your kitchen and write stuff down, and it like actually wants you to write stuff down, which isn't my vibe. However, the writing was very fun and comical and I did enjoy it, so I had a good time reading the book because of the writing style, and that's why it got 2 stars. If it was shitty writing, then it would have gotten 1 star because this book just wasn't it. The next book I read is a 5 star and it is Girl Made of Stars by Ashley Herring Blake. This book is about twins. It is told from the female twin's perspective. There's also a male twin, and the male twin gets accused of rape, and the woman who accuses him of rape is his girlfriend slash the girl twin's best friend, which is kind of complicated and I'm sure is very, very terrible if you're a twin. I can't imagine. Goddamn. Wow. But essentially this book is about the girl twin kind of navigating through that and trying to figure out like whose side she should be on, if she should be on a side, and how to navigate that while also dealing with past trauma of her own. It was a very sad book and it's very upsetting. Obviously, you know, trigger warning. It is about rape and sexual assault, which is upsetting. Oh my god, this book just made my heart hurt, and it's such a good book. It was well written. It was very, very good. It just made me so angry. When people are dismissive of accusations, it just pisses me off to no end. and fuck anyone who doesn't believe the victim. I would just read it for yourself because it is a really good book, and I think it's a book that a lot of young people would benefit from reading. The last physical book I have is Woman on the Edge by Samantha M. Bailey. This book I gave 2 stars. It is about a woman, Morgan. She is standing on a subway platform, and another woman with a baby walks up to Morgan, says her name, shoves the baby in Morgan's arms, and then gets hit by the subway train. So essentially, we are trying to figure out who this woman is and why she knew and how she knew Morgan, while Morgan is also a suspect in the murder. This book, it was interesting, a very interesting concept, but it lacked in execution. The story, honestly, it was kind of mediocre. The way it was told was mediocre. Like I said, it could have been a really, really great story if it was written correctly and changed a little bit. The last thing that I have to say about this book is that it made me super anxious and uneasy in a really bad way. Like, it wasn't like I was anxious because I was reading like a thriller or mystery or anything. I don't know why. I got super anxious and I like almost had multiple panic attacks like reading this. Like, I had like mini ones and I was like, okay, I gotta put this book down. And it happened multiple times and I don't know why. It was just, it was weird. I don't know. So yeah, it's not like the book has anything like triggering really, and I had a tough time reading it. And if it weren't for that, it probably would have gotten like 3 stars, but because of that, it got 2 stars. But that could just be like a me thing. I don't know if that's like an other people thing. The next 3 books are audiobooks. The very first one is Dear John by Nicholas Sparks. Dear John is about a couple, Savannah and John. Savannah is a student and John is in the army. Could be something else. It's like army though, one of those things. And he goes off to war. And it's about their relationship. I gave this book 3 stars. I thoroughly enjoyed it up until the breakup, and then that, like, it just was boring and I just wasn't into it. It was different from the movie. It had a similar plot, but with like new enhanced information, which I appreciated. It wasn't crazy different that like I hated it, because I really liked the movie, and it wasn't crazy similar that I was like, okay, like I should have just watched the movie. But I enjoyed it for the most part up until the breakup, which was like the last half or quarter of the book. The next book I listened to is A Good Marriage by Stephen King. A Good Marriage is about a couple and they've been married for a really, really long time, and the husband has been keeping secrets. The wife finds out, and then it's just like about how she is going to deal with said secrets, because he may or may not have blood on his hands. I hated this book. Well, I didn't hate it. I didn't like it. It's a 1-star book for sure. I really don't like Stephen King's writing. I am so desperate to know why everyone likes him that I keep reading him, and I don't like it. I don't like his writing. I don't know what it is about it. It's not my thing. The book was very boring. It was just like, it just went on and on and on. Shitty ending. Surprise, surprise. Stephen King always has shitty endings, and his climaxes are always at the end of the book. I don't like Stephen King. And it also described some stuff in it, and it was like really cringy. It was so gross. And not in like a good horror way, but in like a too much information wasn't needed type of way. Like, I knew he was bad, I don't need to know all the details. The last book I read, or listened to more so, is The Joy of Doing Just Enough by Jennifer McCartney. This book I gave 2 stars. It was meh. It was funny at times. It was very, 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 very ignorant. She basically just kept saying, like, if you don't want to do something, don't do it, and if you don't want to work, don't work, and at work, you know, you should play video games, and if you're vegetarian, you can eat a steak, and you're a vegetarian, who cares? Which, as a side note, I really don't agree with. I'm vegetarian, and that like really pissed me off. It was so annoying, because she took on the attitude of like, I know everything and you're doing it wrong if you're not being lazy and doing all this stuff, and she failed to recognize her privilege and her economic privilege as well. I didn't really learn much. There were a few things I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting way to look at it, but that's about it. Made me feel good about ordering food though, which was great. Actually, it wasn't great because I've been ordering food a lot and I need to knock it off. So that's all. Those are all the books that I read. That was 10 books. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 10 books from January to April. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, leave a like and subscribe. I'm gonna go have a social distancing picnic now. Peace out, homies.